Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that this small group from the people of Salih, they were from Thamood, they were what is known as Al-Mala. Al-Mala. How many of you have heard of that word before? Al-Mala. Okay, so not many people know it, and so I want everybody to pay attention to this one. When I was preparing one of the seminars for the AlMaghrib Institute, Fiqh al-Da'wah, Guiding to Allah by the Book, in this seminar, in my studies of the da'wah of the prophets and so on and so forth, there is a term that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses again and again and again with all these parish nations. And that is al-mala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, for example, in one of the verses, وَقَالَ الْمَلَأُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا مِن قَوْمِهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَقَالَ الْمَلَأُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not saying that Thamood said this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that the Mala of Thamood said this. Who were the Mala? Okay, so this is what the Mala are. Alright, pay attention. If you got your pens, take note. The Mala are the aristocrats. They are the, you can say, what we would say, the lobbyists, or the special interest groups, the few people, the secret clubs of people that run the whole show. This is the Mala. They are the minority that runs the majority. The minority that runs the majority. If you have ants and a grasshopper, who is stronger, the grasshopper or the ant? Who is stronger? The grasshopper is stronger than the ant. Are you sure? Yeah, of course he is. The grasshopper can come and just punch the ant in the head and the ant is finished. Okay? But ants, for some miracle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they come in many huge numbers. There's many ants. If you had 1 billion ants and 10 grasshoppers, who is stronger? 1 billion ants. What could they do? 1 billion ants. The ants become stronger. The ants they have power. Yet at the end of the day, it will be the grasshoppers that rule. So you don't get a shirt that says grasshoppers rule. But this is the reality. The grasshoppers are the Mala. The grasshoppers are the Mala, and they always rule. They're always the one in charge. You can have a Muslim nation. The whole nation is Muslim. There's a couple of grasshoppers that run the whole show. And you know what I'm talking about. You can go from country to country to country to country to country to country, and just one person will say, what can we do? We're only ants. Correct? Isn't this the case? And many of you coming from different Muslim countries, you're like, yeah, that's definitely it. You just got a few grasshoppers, and then you're like, how in the world did we elect this president? And then you're like, because you're ants. That's why. And he's a grasshopper, and the grasshoppers are just a little bit smarter than you. What you need to do is become a grasshopper. That's what you need to do. Or get in on the grasshopper, the grasshopper crew. The Mala, these grasshoppers that run the show, in the people of Thamood, there were 9 people. Just 9. And it caused the whole destruction of Thamood. Right? They have ways in which they control the ants. They have ways in which they control the ants. So you can have a whole nation, 1 billion people, they can all be controlled with these techniques. And I will explain to you the techniques. And when they use the techniques on you, as they are already doing, they will still work. So you have to be paying attention. Number 1 is understanding what techniques are they using to keep you as an ant. Technique number 1 is called fear. Technique number 1 is called fear. What's the security alert right now? It's orange. Be scared. Be very scared. And even some of you getting scared right now when I say that. They're like, is this being recorded? Because it's like ant ideology, right? It's like, okay, scared, let's go to Home Depot and let's get some masking tape. Because, I'm scared. What if something happens and we need this masking tape? And then people start buying water, buying this and buying that and so on and so forth. And it's just games, right? They're like, oh, security alert. And when you have this thing called like, okay, let me stop that, right? Let me stop there. That's number 1. There was, any Libyans here? Libyans here? No Libyans? Yeah? Okay, cool. Remember back in the 80s when everybody was freaked out at the Libyans? Remember those days? Do you remember those? You know, 1984, it was like Reagan and Gaddafi and all of that stuff. Are you guys still afraid of Libyans? When you see a Libyan, you go like, oh. We do that with Afghanis now. It's a little tangent right now, but we went for Hajj, and this guy came on our bus. There was two buses. We were coming from like the U.S. and for Hajj. And this guy came on the bus, and they were like, he's looking for a passport. And he goes like, Afghani, fin al-Afghani. Right, you know how those Saudi police guys, fin al-Afghani. And then one of the people on the bus, he got so scared. Right? Like, and recall back the Libyan days again. Right? Now it's the Afghani days. So he got so scared, he was like, they're looking for an Afghani. There's an Afghani amongst us. and then I said, brother, calm down. There is a masjid in our area that is predominantly Afghani, and they came for Hajj with us. The whole bus is Afghani. Every single person on that bus is Afghani. Right? He's just looking for some Afghani guy. They're all Afghani. Right? And so you just see, what I'm showing you there is, this is programming to the maximum. This is grasshopper propaganda to the maximum, where you're so scared in your heart that when they say you sit down, what do? I'm sitting, just don't call me an Afghani. Back in the Libyan days, like I say, it changes because now it's Afghani. If I say the Libyans, you're not scared because that power has dwindled. And the propaganda against the Libyans has gone down. They don't care about the Libyans now. Now they're trying to make up with them so they can do like free trade and stuff like that, the Lockerbie thing and so on and so forth. They're trying to make things calm. Back in the Libyan days, there's a brother converted to Islam. He came into our masjid, and the people who founded our masjid, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless them and give them increase of ajr for their whole life and for their children. They're the ones who used to come to the masjid, open the door, and even if there was nobody in the masjid, they would still pray in the masjid. In a day and a time, this is in Winnipeg, when the masjid was closed most of the day. This is so cold and nobody would pray in the masjid, they would still come and pray. So when this brother became Muslim, who was giving him da'wah and helping him out? It was the Libyan brothers. The Libyan brothers. So his mother called him once, or he was talking to his mother once in the masjid. And I remember, I was a little kid at that time, his mother was crying like crazy on the phone. Why was she crying? Because he was in a basement with Libyans. She's like, they're going to kidnap you. She had pictures of seeing her son on some TV with a black eye and saying to the microphone, saying, please give them everything that they want. She saw her son like this. Because that's the connection to Libyans. That was the connection to Libyans. Are Libyans like that now? No, because the Mala chose to switch the scene. So now they've adopted this to a different group of people, and they continue to do this. This is not something new. You're talking about at the time of Salih. The time of all the prophets, this is what they did to keep the people in check. So number one is fear. Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah. Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la